Did I start an entire YouTube channel just to talk about ancient Greek mythology without being interrupted? Yes, I did, and if you have a problem with that, that is not my business. Take it up with corporate. Because Jason and the Argonauts... One second. Because Jason and the Argonauts may very well be the first ever crossover fanfiction in recorded history. This man, Jason, may have had more of a cultural impact on fanfiction.net than he ever even had in ancient Greece. And I'm tired of not talking about it. Disclaimer before I begin this. I may say something and you might be like, hey, I actually heard it this way. You're not wrong. That doesn't mean I'm wrong. I'm going with what I believe to be the most general consensus on things, but you may have very well heard something else. The thing about Greek mythology is a lot of them were founded well before they were recorded in writing. So basically, every single Greek myth has been passed through a centuries-long game of telephone. Which, if you don't know, telephone is a game where everybody gets in a circle. You usually play them at like summer camps or recess or something. One person whispers something in the ear of another person. That person only gets to hear it once and they pass it down to the next person. And by the time it gets around the circle, it is a completely different phrase from the phrase that began it all. That's exactly what happened with Greek mythology. So everybody has a slightly different version of what they've heard about the myth. I'm trying to go with what is the most generally accepted consensus, but we may have heard different things. That doesn't mean you're wrong, doesn't mean I'm wrong. It just means we heard different things. Either way, however, the general story stays the same. And that story is absolutely bonkers. I cannot wait to talk about it, so let's just get right into it. As with all incredible tales, we have to start with the foundation of daddy issues. Jason's father is Aeson, the king of Cretheus. Now, Aeson has a younger brother, Pelias. Pelias usurped the throne from Aeson, and when Aeson died, they hid away Jason so that he could not be found and killed by Pelias. They took him to a centaur named Chiron. Chiron is known for training heroes. That's his whole thing. He trains heroes. This man is half horse. As far as I know, though, he has only trained humans and demigods, so he's got to be really good at what he does, because he does not know how legs work. But he's really good. So they give Jason him, and they're like, you have to take care of him. And Chiron, who has this happen to him every week, is like, cool, I'll adopt another kid until he's not a teenager anymore, sure. So he takes in this kid and he trains him until he is 20 years old. Jason, fresh out of Chiron training, is like, let's go. So he goes back and he's gonna take back his throne. Now Pelias has gotten a prophecy to be wary of someone with one shoe, and he has no idea what this means. What kind of prophecy is that? Guy with one shoe? Like, who's my enemy? Cinderella? Now that I'm thinking about it, Jason kind of looks like Cinderella. Like, he's described as having, like, long, flowing, golden curls, which is very princess-like. Non-intentional Jason cosplay, guys. I'm not cosplaying BTW. I just look like him. So Jason, he did not escape Chiron's cave. He leaves Chiron's cave, and he goes back home to get his throne back. On his way home, however, he sees this old lady in a river. And he doesn't know that this old lady is Hera, but this old lady is Hera, okay? And Jason, because he's such a nice guy, he's so sweet and sensitive and caring and wonderful, he helps her across, even though he didn't know that she was Hera, because he's just that good of a person. But as he's crossing, his foot gets stuck in the mud and he loses a shoe! And he shows up and everyone is like, who is this amazing, sexy, sensitive man who looks exactly like Caitlyn, the person who's making this video? Is he Apollo? Is he Ares? He has to be a god because he's so pretty and powerful. And he's like, no guys, I'm just Jason. I'm just a regular guy like the rest of you.
Just a normal girl with a normal life.
But at this market, making offering to the god Poseidon is none other than Pelias. And he's like, what are you doing here? Who are you? Where are you from? And Jason is like, I'm your nephew, bitch. I'm coming to take back my throne. But I'm going to be really nice about it. I'm going to let you keep everything. You can have all your farms and stuff that you took away from my parents. I just want the throne back. And Police is like, okay, yeah, sure, if you do one thing for me. This really isn't hard to do at all. Like, it's not even that big a deal. Actually, I would do it. I'm just so old, and I know you love to help old people, so I thought you would really appreciate doing this little task for me. Again, I'm not trying to kill you or anything. I would totally do it myself super easily. I'm just so old and frail and weak, and so I just need somebody like you to do it to prove to me that you'd be a good king. Jason, who has never talked to anybody except Chiron before, is like, yeah, this sounds legit. I'm totally trusting of you in this. I'm sure you have sincere intentions. What do you want me to do? And Police is like, I need you to get me the Golden Fleece. And the Golden Fleece is this really big deal. So many heroes have tried to get it because it is super valuable. It has this whole story attached to it about a flying ram. Not super important. We can get into that another day if we want to. But it's tied to a tree that's guarded by a dragon. Nobody can get this. It's really hard to do. But Jason is like, that sounds sick. I'm so ready for a quest. I'm literally 20 years old. I haven't done anything with my life except for train with Chiron. I want a quest. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to get the Golden Fleece. This is going to be awesome. So this guy named Argus builds a ship called the Argo. And this is like a super awesome, never done before ship. It's giant and it has all of these intricate carvings all along the ship, but it's also light enough that the crew could carry it on their backs for 12 days straight. But that isn't the most interesting thing about the Argo. The most interesting thing about the Argo is who is on it. Now here's where we get to the crossover fan fiction part of it. Let me read out to you who all is on the ship, because I can't even remember all the people. There's, I think, 50 Argonauts total, but there's some particularly memorable ones, so I'm going to read them out to you. This is the book I'm referencing for my list of Argonauts, by the way. When the whole was completed and the Argonauts gathered around the ship, they cast lots for the places they were to occupy in it. Jason was to command the entire expedition. Tiphys was the helmsman, Lysinus, the keen-eyed pilot, in the bow of the ship sat glorious Heracles, in the stern Peleus, the father of Achilles, and Telamon, the father of Ajax the Great. Among the rest of the crew were Castor and Polydeuces, the son of Zeus, Neleus, the father of Nestor, Admetus, the husband of devout Alcestis, Meleager, who had slain the Caledonian boar, Orpheus, the sweet singer, Menelaus, the father of Patroclus, Theseus, who later became king of Athens, and his friend Pirithous, Helus, the younger friend of Heracles, Poseidon's son, Euphemus, and Oileus, the father of Ajax the Less. Not to be confused with Ajax the Great. This one sucks a little more. And then they take off while Orpheus sings a super cool song about how brave and awesome they are, and they all get really hyped. Their first stop is on an island called Lemnos. This island is occupied entirely by women for an interesting reason. So at one point, all of their men went to war, and they came back with a bunch of concubines. And the women weren't gonna have this. They're like, you can't just bring back your little girlfriend to my house. What the heck? No, I'm your wife. You need to be loyal to me. So they killed all of the men. They murdered all of the men. And then only after were they like, ooh, this is a problem. Now we can't repopulate. Oopsie. They were also really afraid that people would find out about this and attack them. They were always on guard, ready for something to happen. So when the Argo pulled up, they were like, ready to attack. But then they saw that it wasn't like their enemies, and they were like, okay, let's give them the benefit of the doubt. We're going to be really nice to them and see if maybe they want to stay, and then we'll have men again. They're like, great idea. Offer them so many nice things. So Jason gets off the boat, and this one girl, her name is Hypsipyle? I'm just going to call her Hippie. So Hippie comes up to Jason, and she's like, hey, I just want to explain the situation to you. So basically, all of our men left the country to live with their concubines. We didn't do anything to them. We definitely didn't hurt them or kill them or anything like that. That would be crazy. That'd be so crazy. We didn't do that. So they just like left. And so now we don't have any men here. We're so helpless. You have to help us. We didn't do anything to them. They just left us because they don't like us anymore. Isn't that horrible? Don't you feel bad for us? But if you stayed here, then you could be in leadership and you can marry one of us, like me, for instance. And we could live happily ever after. And Jason is like, that sounds awesome. I'm going to go tell everyone about that. So Jason goes back on the Argo and he's like, Hey guys, you guys will not believe what's going on here. These guys' husbands just left them for no reason, and now they want us to be in power. And everyone on the Argo is like, that's awesome. Let's go get some girls. So they all get off the ship except for Hercules, who's like, nah, I'm just gonna stay here and hang out with my friend. I don't like girls. Girls are icky and gross, and they kind of stink, and they have cooties. So I'm just gonna hang out with my friend that I brought with me. And we're just gonna hang out in the Argo. Y'all have fun though. And so everyone's like, okay, Hercules, have fun with your boyfriend. So they get off the Argo. Hercules gets FOMO, and he gets onto the island. He's like, whatever happened to bros before hoes? You guys cannot just abandon your quest because you found a hot girl, okay? What, you're gonna sit here and you're gonna have so many babies with your new little girlfriends, and then they're gonna grow up hearing about all of the quests that other heroes completed because you, Jason, were lame and stupid. And Jason was like, sorry. You're right. Okay. Sorry guys. Yeah, we gotta go. And I was like, okay. So they get back on the Argo. And that was their first little adventure. The best way that I can describe this legend is if you put a fraternity on a party yacht and sent them to obtain the Golden Fleece, this is probably exactly how it would go. Their next endeavor happened on the island of the Six-Armed Giants. Once again, they land on an island and everybody gets off of the ship except for Heracles, who's way too cool for that. And they meet these six-armed giants who had received a prophecy from an oracle that was like, hey, if this band of heroes shows up on shore, don't attack them. Be nice. So they were like, hey, let's go hang out with these guys. So they partied and they had fun and they made friends with each other, and it was scrumptious, it was great, it was wonderful. And the giants were like, here's where you need to go. We're going to help you out. They're like, thanks so much. That is so helpful. So then they went back on their ship and they set off that way, but then a storm hit and they got a little disoriented. So when they landed on an island, they thought it was the island that they were supposed to be going to, but they actually just went back to the exact same island. So when they got there, the giants were like, oh, we don't have a prophecy about attacking a second group of heroes. Let's attack these guys. Because it was too dark and they couldn't see them. The Argonauts also couldn't see that these were the giants, so they just had this huge battle and killed a bunch of people, and then when they could see each other and they realized what they had done, they were like, oh shoot! Oh, that was my homie! That was my guy! And it was really sad, and they had funerals for each other's people, because they just attacked each other for no reason. You probably know where this is going by now, but the guys land on yet another island. Upon arriving at this island, the citizens welcome them gratefully, and they give them some food and some drinks, and they're having a great time. And Heracles, being Heracles, is like, parties aren't really my thing, you know? I need to go off and have a deep conversation or carve an ore. So he goes off to carve an ore, and he finds this really nice tree, and he's carving it. Meanwhile, Hercules' little friend, Hellas, also left the party. Here's a little backstory on Heracles and Hellas. So, Hercules killed Hellas' father and then was like, your son is so pretty. He's coming with me. And now he just takes Hellas around like a chihuahua or something. So anyway, Hellas goes to this well, and in this well there's a nymph, and she's like, oh my god, you're so pretty. And so she pulls him into the well, and Hellas screams as he falls. Now, Polyphemus, another Argonaut, not to be confused with the Cyclops Polyphemus, this is a different guy, he hears this scream, and he's like, oh, I gotta tell Heracles about this. So he goes and he finds Heracles, he's like, hey, I'm really sorry to tell you about this, but I think Hellas just fell into a well. And Heracles is like, no, my guy, that's my guy. So he runs off and he chases after him. He's not seen again. He is yearning. Of course, no one knew that Heracles had left the party because he had to be all mysterious about it. So the next day, they were all like, okay, let's just get going. We're ready to go. And then when they're taking roll, they're like, wait a minute. We're missing someone. oh shoot, we left Heracles. But they've gone miles, they're far, and so they're all debating, like, do we go back for him? Do we go back to get Heracles? And, you know, they're arguing about it. And Jason this whole time is being really quiet. And they're like, Jason? Why are you being so quiet? Wait a minute. I bet you just don't want to go get Hercules because he totally mogs you. And you're supposed to be the leader of the quest, but Heracles makes you look bad. He makes you look stupid and weak and also stupid. And Jason is like, nuh-uh. I just don't have anything to say because you know. But he's saved by the bell because Boreas shows up, who's a wind god. And he's like, hey everyone, don't go back for Heracles. He's mourning his guy. He's yearning. He's sitting there yearning. Let him be. He needs a minute. And Jason is like, yeah, what he said. That's exactly what I was thinking. Thanks so much, Boreas, because that's exactly what I was thinking. You know, great minds think alike, and I'm really glad that you came in and say that, because that's exactly what I was thinking. I just didn't have the words for it. And then the person who was accusing Jason of just being jealous was like, I am so sorry, man. I didn't realize that you were just on a completely different level than I was. That is so my bad. Please don't be mad at me. And Jason is like, you know what? I'm such a nice, sensitive guy, so I'll forgive you. And they're all good. They're chill. There's no beef there. They arrive on another island, and the island's leader, Amicus, is like, hey, so fun fact about me. I actually never let anyone leave my country without having a boxing match with them. And they're like, that's a weird flex, but okay. Good thing we have a professional boxer on our ship. And so Polydeuces... Ow! I just hurt my wrist by existing. This is why Polydeuces is the professional boxer and not me. So everyone's like, fight, 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 fight. And the island's leader and Polydeuces start going at it, you know? Finally, Polydeuces wins because he cracked this guy's skull, okay? And all of his citizens get really mad about this, so they start attacking, and then all of the Argonauts start also attacking, and they get into a big fight. And the Argonauts win. They take all of their spoils of war, and they have a big party, and Orpheus plays music, because that's the only thing he's good for, and then they leave again. The next island they end up at has a very interesting resident. You may have heard of him before. His name is Phineus. Phineus is blind, and he had abused his powers of prophecy from Apollo, so he is cursed so that whenever he tries to eat food, harpies eat it first. He had this prophecy about the Argonauts coming and helping him get rid of the harpies. So the Argonauts show up, and he tells them about this, and they're like, oh yeah, we'll get rid of these harpies for you, no problem. Like, these guys are so easy to scare away, so they just start being rambunctious. Being like, like, go away, and that doesn't work, obviously. They just start attacking these harpies with swords, but just before they attack them, Iris shows up. She's like, hey, y'all, calm down. Look, I'm not gonna let you kill these harpies, but I promise you they're not gonna bother Phineus anymore, okay? And they're like, all right, cool. And Phineus is like, oh my gosh, thank you. I was so hungry. Here's a prophecy to help you out. So he gives them a prophecy that just basically instructs them on the next part of the journey. Nothing super eventful happens for the next 40 days after that. They have a storm. Athena kind of pushes them along their way. They go to a couple more islands. We're sick of hearing them stop at islands. I'm not going to talk anymore about their island adventures. I'm sick of talking about it, okay? It doesn't matter that much. We're going to get to the interesting stuff now, which happens to be another island adventure. I am so sorry. It's the source material. It's not me. We finally get to see a woman in the story. Is everyone excited? I am. I'm sick of talking about men. This video would not pass the Bechdel test. I'm a bad feminist. Sorry, the framing changed. My phone died. You may have heard of a certain sorceress named Medea. So Jason and the Argonauts arrive on the island of Aeetes. I think that's how you say his name. Aeetes actually has the golden fleece, so Jason needs to get this from him. He's like, hey dude, can I have the golden fleece or what? And Aeetes is like, oh yeah, sure man, I just need you to complete 3 things for me. And keep in mind, by this point, Jason has still not figured out that this whole golden fleece thing was just a scheme to kill him. It does not even occur to Jason that this might be any kind of trick, and he's just like, Yeah, okay. What do you want me to do? So Aetes gives them these 3 tasks. One of them is plowing this field with a bunch of fire-breathing oxen. Another one is sewing these dragon teeth that would turn into monsters as he sewed them. And the third one was... I don't remember what the third one was, but it's not important. Point is, Jason couldn't do this by himself. So Aphrodite steps in. That's always a great start to any story, isn't it? Aphrodite stepping in? Yeah. She makes Aetes' daughter, Medea, fall in love with Jason. So Medea is a granddaughter of Helios, and some attribute her sorcery powers to this. Some people attribute it to her studying under Hecate. Either way, Medea is really powerful. She's really good at magic and potions and all of that stuff. She also happens to be the niece of Circe, who is obviously also a very powerful sorceress. So Medea falls utterly head over heels for Jason. Let me just point out, in the book that I used to reference for the names, there's this line that absolutely cracks me up when Jason first meets Medea. While the girl was talking, Jason was overcome with irresistible love for her and broke out impetuously, "Noble princess, should I escape death, not a day will pass, not an hour, in which I fail to remember you. My home is Iolcus in Haemonia, where Deucalion, the son of Prometheus, founded many cities and built many temples. In that place, not even the name of your country is known." "So you live in Greece," said the girl. She's like, what is bro yapping about? Just like, tell me where you live. It is not that deep. Medea knows that this is just a trap, and her father doesn't actually want Jason to complete these 3 tasks. He's just trying to get him killed so he doesn't have to give him the golden fleece. So Medea's like, listen, Jason, I'm gonna help you out. So she helps him complete all the tasks, whether that be by using her potions and her sorcery, or by giving him information that he wouldn't have otherwise known. Jason completes all of the tasks successfully, but by the time they finish, they realize, oh, he's not going to give you the golden fleece regardless of whether or not you complete the task, so they run away. Obviously, they're being chased down by Aetes, and Medea, in order to distract him, kills her brother, chops off his limbs, like cuts him into little bits and pieces, and scatters these pieces everywhere. Now she knows that her father is going to have to stop and pick up every single one of these pieces so that he can give him a proper burial, which gives them time to escape. After this, Medea is like, please let me come with you on the Argo. I really want to go with you. She's like, I can't bear to live without you, Jason. Please let me come on the Argo with you. And Jason is like, oh my gosh, yes, come with me and then we'll get married. It'll be so great. So they're on the Argo together, and they stop by Circe's island because, like I said, Circe is Medea's aunt, and Medea has all of these crimes that she's committed, so she needs Circe to cleanse her of them. So she and Jason get off the ship on Circe's island, and Medea's like, hey, I just need you to cleanse me of my sins real quick, and then I'll be on my way. And Medea's like, listen, I don't really condone murdering and dismembering your brother, and that's coming from me. Like, my whole story revolves around turning men into pigs. So if I'm saying what you did was messed up, yikes. But I will cleanse you from your sins. Just like, please consider that what you did was wrong. It was kind of messed up. Medea's like, okay, cool, whatever, thanks. So they leave. But as they're leaving, they pass by sirens. And this is Orpheus's time to shine. He is the music guy. This man is the one. They have one musician on the ship, and it's Orpheus. And this is his time to shine because they're like, oh no, how are we going to get past the sirens? And Orpheus is like, I know a way to get past the sirens. Come on, guys, pick me, pick me, pick me. And they do. And he just plays his lyre louder than the sirens are singing. I kid you not, they get through the sirens because Orpheus played his lyre louder than them and drowned them out. That's hilarious to me. That is so funny, because first of all, why is Orpheus even here? What is he doing here? What is he doing here? But also, what do you mean you got past the sirens because you were just louder than them? At that point, why are you even playing music? At that point, everybody could just scream and they'd have no issue. I guess music is a little bit more pleasant, but like also how are you louder than... I don't know. I'm not gonna question it. I'm just gonna accept it because that's so funny. Now, if they didn't have Medea with them, they would have had every single one of the same issues that they had on the way there. They would have gone to a bunch of islands that they shouldn't have gone to. They would have gotten into a bunch of fights with people. But Medea, being the only intelligent person there, is like, hey, why don't we not stop on that island full of enemies? And they're all like, oh my god, I didn't even think about that. That's crazy. Medea, you're like so smart. I'm so glad we brought this random chick onto the Argo. Is Medea smart? Or are y'all just stupid? That's the question. I genuinely think Jason might be one of the stupidest men in Greek mythology, and that is saying so much. Because the bar is insanely high. Like, Mount Olympus is here, and the bar for stupid men in Greek mythology is a little bit higher than that, okay? And Jason is, like, solidly there. He's right at that bar. So anyway, they get back to Jason's kingdom, and all of a sudden, maybe some of Medea's intelligence started to rub off on Jason, because all of a sudden he's like, you know what? I just had this idea. Maybe my uncle is, like, not a good person. Maybe he actually wants me to die. And Medea's like, yeah. I knew this. Did you know this? I thought we all knew that. Am I the only one? Okay, cool. Uh-huh. She starts questioning everything. Jason's like, I think we gotta kill this guy. Medea, will you help me kill him? I need your help. Medea, please help me. And she's like, okay, yeah, no, I got you. So she goes to Pelias' daughters and she's like, hey, I can actually extend your father's life by a few years if you just cut him up into little bits and boil him in a little soup. Yeah, I can make him basically immortal if you do that. And of course the girls are like, oh my gosh, that's so nice. Yeah, we want our father to live forever. So they cut him up and boil him in a soup. And obviously their dad's dead now, because that's not how you give someone more life. That actually, like, does pretty much mostly the opposite of that. 10 years later, Jason and Medea are married. Medea has given him 2 or 3 sons, depending on what version of the myth you're reading. And Jason comes home and he's like, hey, so I've been having this thing with this girl for a while. And he's like, you've been cheating on me? No, not like that. Not like that. I just, like, we've just been, like, in a relationship and also having sex. And Medea's like, so you've been cheating on me? Oh, no, babe. Yeah, I am cheating on you, but it's not me, it's you. Because you do this thing where you age, and you're basically a grandma now, and that's, like, really cringe. And I just, like, it's, like, so embarrassing. You're like when I married you, you were, like, a solid 8. Ugh, you're, like, so not anymore, though. I hate it when women age. It's so disgusting. I'm sorry, what are you even saying right now? I'm just saying that I want to get a divorce. No, I'm not gonna divorce you. We've been married for 10 years, and we have 3 kids together. I've been so loyal to you. I killed my brother for you. I killed your uncle. I can't go back to my home. I'm a criminal. What do you want me to do? Not my circus, not my monkeys. No, actually, it is your circus, and it is your monkeys, okay? I'm your wife. These are your children. You can't just leave me after 10 years because I aged. No, babe, I never said that. You're making me look like a really bad guy right now. I would never do that. No, you literally just told me that was the reason. Babe, calm down. It's actually just because of politics, you know? This girl, she just has a much higher social standing than you. So really, it's for your good. Are you kidding me? No, babe. So Medea is obviously very distressed about this, and she starts scheming. Jason, as we mentioned before, is not the sharpest spear in the armory, so he still, to this day, does not know what an ulterior motive is. So when Medea comes to him and she's like, you know what? You're right, Jason. I was just being a crazy, hysterical woman. Of course you should marry this other girl, even though we've been married for 10 years and have 3 kids. And you know what? Just to show you how supportive I am of this, I have some gifts for her. So Medea gives him these gifts that he's to give to his new bride. It's like robes and fancy things and stuff like that. And of course, Jason is like, oh, this is so nice. You're the best ex-wife I've ever had. Don't mention it. I can't wait to give these to my new wife. So he gives them to his new wife. And obviously, they were poisoned and she dies. And in some versions of the myth, her father also dies because after she dies, he like leans over her and the poison touches him and he also dies. Then Medea is like, well, now people are going to try to kill my kids. Wait a minute. No one can kill my kids if I kill them first. So she kills her kids. And then Hera is kind of mad about this whole situation because she's the goddess of marriage and she's like, Jason, I trusted you and then you went and cheated on your wife? That's messed up. I don't like you anymore. And so Hera doesn't like Jason anymore, so she curses him to have a horrible, sad, unhappy life. And then he dies in the least heroic way imaginable. He's reminiscing on the good old days, sleeping in the Argo that's now rotting and sad. And a plank of wood falls on his head. And he dies forever. Aw, oh no. Stinky man died. And I presume Heracles is still out there somewhere side questing. We don't know. I will not say everyone lived happily ever after, because they probably didn't. In fact, we know most of them didn't. It's Greek mythology. What can I say? If you actually watched all of this, thank you so much for listening to my ramblings. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any quests, don't give those to me. I cannot handle them emotionally or physically. But if you have any requests or myths you want me to cover, go ahead and comment them. I'll do my best. Thank you for watching. I hope your life lasts many, many more years and it isn't abruptly ended by a wooden plank falling on your head.